this is me reacting to what you said. And I think that a lot of people my age are going to react the same way. But I love that we talked that through because you're right. And more people need to date like that.
The millennial generation is as follows.
Welcome to
Surrounded by Idiots
Radio Podcast.
All right, everybody, hold on to your Lululemons. It's time for the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast with your hosts, Dr. Who's the one that's been smoking, me or you? Dr. Tony Dufresne and the lovely Lexi Rodriguez from beautiful smoking San Diego, California.
I like what you did there.
Are you? What are you drinking? Are you drinking kombucha?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how much more like?
Oh my God, you have
stoner hippie can I be?
Full on bought and sold into the Diego life.
And not only is
and you've only been down there for
Health
2 years
Aid
or something?
kombucha. It's Health Aid pomegranate kombucha. This is not an ad, but I would love to be sponsored by whatever dispensaries want to sponsor us and whatever kombucha manufacturers.
Don't
There's
hold
so
back.
many local as
Don't
well,
hold back,
so
Lex.
hit us up.
And just throw it out there. Don't yeah. Today, this is kind of, we're freestyling it today, because I threw it to you. You said, "What do you want to talk about?" And I said, "I want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about the worst dating advice ever." And what I'm talking about is like the worst piece of dating advice I've ever heard or I've ever got, or both. And so we didn't talk before the show about what ours were or was or is. So I have my little piece, and then hopefully you've got a couple pieces there.
Yeah, you go first, because this one was kind of tough for me. When you said it, I thought to myself that this is dope, because everyone is always asking, and we've had a conversation about this before, but everyone's always asking their friends or their family or these people who have no idea what situation they're in, what they should do. And half of the time, these people don't even know who the fuck this person that is asking for advice is, really, deep down to the core.
Yeah,
so
right. And
it's like you're throwing shit out to a crowd that like has never caught a softball before.
Yeah, and it's
gonna go well.
Spoken from a true softball chick. Obviously the problem is that context is a big thing, and everybody's in their own individual stuff. And this, did you just shotgun that whole thing of kombucha? Good God. The interesting part about this little phrase I'm going to share with you, and the entire reason for doing this show is for me to call complete bullshit on this one thing, and then you have yours. So my one piece, my worst dating advice ever is just be yourself. Fucking horrible. You know why? Here's why. Now, in theory, that's a great idea, to be yourself. You're just yourself, and you're authentic, and you're there. Which is, but nobody is on the first date, because they're all wrapped up in their shit. And
of
then,
course, but they're not being anyone else. They're just not being their full 100%.
Right,
self.
but in getting that advice from somebody, what people do when they go out on dates is they think, okay, I have to be my witty self, or I have to be my obnoxious self, or I have to be, I'm the class clown, so I got to be a joker, or I'm or I'm snarky, or I'm dry, I'm a smart ass, and so
or I got to be what I put my little clever saying as.
Right,
on my
so I'm just going to be
Instagram
a smart ass the whole time. Or if I'm a psychologist, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to analyze you the whole time. It's the worst advice ever, because you have to take it out of context. When you go to meet somebody, the best possible thing to do is just be present with the person and be attentive to the person, and just enjoy yourself. Think of it as this is a new experience, and you're with somebody new, and you're excited to be with them, and just share your excitement that you're there with them, and share the experience with them, instead of having it in your head that you have to perform. And you have to show them who yourself is.
So let's talk about this really quick. You're right. You used quotes when you just finished that sentence, because they think they have to be themselves. Someone says, just be yourself, you're hilarious. Or just be yourself. I mean, what else is there? I'm like, you're hilarious. No, but
it's
when
it
you
becomes
go
forced.
over the top to exaggerate a personality trait that you are coining as your best trait, because people tell you, they give you compliments on it all the time. So now you're attached to this trait that is getting you the ladies, or getting you the tips, or getting you the jobs.
Air quotes.
Because it doesn't have to be ladies.
The
But it's like you're not
ladies.
being yourself. So you're saying, I'm just going to be my funny self. I'm just going to be my clever, sarcastic, analytical self. But that's not who you are 100% of the time. You know, there's a balance. So you're right. When two entities are coming together to sit at a table and be on a date and chat back and forth, you can't be 100% yourself because there's not enough room at the table. You have to let the other person have time to like sit in who they are and receive what you're throwing their way and kind of like counteract that time.
A lot of stuff happens on the first date. It's a very overwhelming experience. You've got somebody there. You have an entity in front of you that you're interested in. You hope they're interested in you, and you're trying to figure stuff out, and you're trying to make it go smoothly, and you're trying to create an environment to where both of you can interact back and forth, to where you have some fun and you create a chemistry together. And the worst thing you can do is to crowd all that out with a thought in your head about, I have to do something, or I have to be something, or I have to be myself. Which actually, in essence, is really not yourself. It's just ego stuff.
I love that.
And that's why that's the biggest problem. The problem is you crowd all the other stuff out about being attentive and being a good listener and being focused and being aware and being there for the person. And you crowd that out, and then you start putting on the Lexi show.
Right. Totally. You know what I've learned the past
right?
couple years, how to really just sit and listen. And you know what's funny is it's not backfiring on me, but I'm definitely observing how people that are knowing me kind of as an older, more evolved single chick in the dating world right now, in a pool of 20-somethings, early 30-somethings, 40-somethings, whatever. So I'm like, so you think this is what I'm getting at, is at 25, when I was dating, I definitely was still trying to figure it out. And there were times where I probably just fucking chatted the room out. You know what I mean? Where they were just like, this bitch is talking so much. But it's because it was that at that point in my life at 25, it was me that's how I handled being nervous. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, what's funny is I've noticed, and I've really tried to work on that, is the past 2 years as someone dating and like getting to know new people, even friends, even making new friends. And it's funny is I'm the quiet one. I'm the introvert. And that's why I have the saying, I'm the most introverted extrovert you'll ever meet, because I've learned, and it's definitely worked for me, to just shut the fuck up and be quiet and listen. But you know what? It's worked for me and what I'm analyzing at that moment. But I get shit all the time from people like, you're too quiet. Why aren't you socializing? Like, you're socially awkward. Like, I'm like, I'm just being quiet and trying to let you guys make all the moves.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's funny.
Well,
it's like, what do you guys want from me? Do you want me to shut up, or do you want me to fucking steal the show?
People get uncomfortable when other people are not talking, and they call you an enigma. I got called out in a seminar a long time ago because I was just kind of sitting back and watching people and kind of checking things out. And they said, basically, what's your problem? I'm like, I don't have a problem. I'm just checking people out. I'm just, here. This is just kind of how I work. This is the extroverted introvert type of a thing. Yeah. And this is actually the biggest story in my book. And actually, I'm releasing it on a bunch of different emails that I'm.
Oh, well, give us a little teaser, please.
I'll give you a little teaser.
Give us a little teaser.
I found myself in this seminar with a bunch of people, and the facilitator came over to me and said, so, what's your deal? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you're not sharing, you're not doing. I go, well, I am. I'm just not, I'm not out there, crying my eyes out, and I'm not stealing the show.
Like with my hands up.
Yeah, I'm not doing a bunch of. I'm not putting
way.
the show on. And she said, well, she goes, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to lunch in 20 minutes or so, and you're going to get up in the middle of the restaurant and sing a song.
What?
Yeah.
What was this? Was this like one of those mastermind things that you paid for?
This was, this was years ago.
It obviously wasn't Tony Robbins.
No, it was actually Psy seminars.
Because he gets intense too, and I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins, but I don't think I would want to go to one of his things. It's too it's fucking like, I will come out of my shell when I want to come out of my shell, and I'm coming here to learn how to do that, but don't force me to do some shit I don't want to do.
Well, see,
those people are crazy.
It comes from the same thing. It's from LifeSpring and Est.
So what'd you do?
PSI, and maybe you'll have to just read the book. to find out what happened.
No, but what'd you do?
Actually, what I did was I got up in the Marie calendars.
You sang?
And I sang Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire.
Oh, you sell out.
I didn't
you
sell out.
You fucking sold out.
I was a part. It was a part of the whole thing of the seminar, and I was there with 25 people, and she said, "You're going to do this." And it was the second day of a 5-day.
And you're
deal.
like, okay, you're just like taking the challenge.
I'm like, no, I was scared shitless because what she didn't know. I'm totally giving away the best story of the book. I don't fucking care. What she didn't know was the fact that for 10 years before that, or 7 years before that, I've been singing in a band. I mean, I've been, I was a musician and I was the lead singer. But I have to say, it's context because I ended up in the middle of a restaurant a week before Christmas in a Marie calendars, and it's slammed. And it's lunchtime, and I'm leaning up against a salad bar, and I just start singing. It's not like everybody went there to see my band play. There's no instruments. There's no nothing.
Weird.
And the group that came with me, with all the people, my only support of the people who knew what was going on, were in the back banquet room.
Yeah.
So they weren't even in the front room that I could actually look at them and I can get some vibe and support and stuff. They weren't even there. And so I was there with 200
so,
people.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you saying it helped then? Like she really pulled you out of your shell and you were like, damn, there's my confidence I needed to start this business and create a multi-million-dollar company. Pay $8,000 here to attend a 3-week seminar. Dun, dun, dun.
No, that would be inaccurate. No, that's not the case. But what it did do is it taught me some really good lessons. And it was one of the most impactful things that ever happened in my life because it was so shockingly out of the box. That's not a step out of the box. That's a fucking mile out of the box. And
right.
I was, like I said, as much as I had been singing for as long as I have, it was still different. And it was
the point is when you're being, this is for our listeners, the point is when you're being 100% quote unquote yourself, or as much of yourself as you can be on a date or making new friends or at an interview, it's going to work out in your favor. When you're being extra and you're exaggerating the little points of yourself that you really love and that you can tell people really love, it's not going to work out in your favor because ding, 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 you're being inauthentic.
Yeah, don't make
it. Our point and the point of this show is to help you feel completely whole and confident with who you are and all the little negative, positive, like sexy, fucking disheartening things about you. Be comfortable with it because you're only going to get better every day.
Don't put on the you show, please, for God's sakes. For God's sakes, don't put on the you show. You'll have the best day of your life. I mean, if the other person is cool and you're into them, but you will have the best day of your life if you sit back and ask them questions and then and observe something about them, ask them questions and have them come back and then ask them as a follow-up questions and have them expand on stories and then, dab a little bit in it. Don't go too deep, but just dab a little bit in what's going on, in their interests and their passions. Just get them to talk about their passion. Because what happens is there's from a psychological standpoint there's a positive association to experience, and that's why anytime that they say you have to create some level of positivity or the dating guys you have to like a touch or something, because if you establish some level of a positive memory and you're there in the positive memory, it's going to be of your benefit in the long run. At least to get a second date and to expand.
Oh, I love that piece of advice.
That's my 2 cents. Just don't, the worst piece is just to be yourself, which means put on the you show. Don't put the you show on. Just be present for the other person. That's all.
So let me throw this out there. It's just, I love that advice. But when you just said that, it just made me think about this. So when you share your passion, and if this is your true passion, it's something you're thinking about all the time. It's something you're putting your blood, sweat, sleep, and tears into because you're trying to create this passion. And this can go towards all those entrepreneurs out there that are trying to balance creating a business with dating, with being healthy, with all these things that we're trying to balance. So when someone asks me or asks someone on a date, and they want to talk about my passion, to me it's almost like sex on a first date. Like I'm kind of like, whoa, dude, it's only been 20 minutes, and because to me that's like my baby. Like I'm developing this business or this idea or whatever I'm trying to give back to the community from like my heart and soul. And I don't know this motherfucker. Say I met him on a dating app, he wants to hear all about like my deep down passions. To me, that's comparable to like, maybe don't have sex with this guy because you've only known him for 20 minutes. It's like, don't share those deep vulnerable moments unless you're like fully
but how do you
trusting.
how do you feel about him asking you to share it though?
I think it's rad. Okay. You're right. It just popped in my head like,
right.
damn, I would get a little bit like,
but you can choose how deep to go.
No, you're right, and I love it. I think this is me reacting to what you said, and I think that a lot of people my age are going to react the same way. But I love that we talked that through because you're right, and more people need to date like that because a lot of people don't. A lot of people just go on a date. I mean, me in a lot of my dating life was like I was stoked to meet someone and he was good looking and we always had good conversation and we laughed and had fun, but we never got too deep. And you know what? Those relationships never went anywhere, clearly. So it's like we'd go on a date, we'd have casual talk, we'd, drink margaritas until we were making out, and then boom, you made it.
The magic
you showed
formula.
up right, you showed up sober, you got a couple of drinks, finally he kissed you, maybe he's into you, maybe you're into him, maybe it's gonna end in great sex. I get it. But if you're not talking passion, is it gonna go farther than just the intimacy?
Well, it depends. I mean, it has to go there sooner or later, right? Because it's really about you show your true colors when and how you ask questions or how you don't ask questions. And if you ask questions in regards to what's important to the other person, or you have observations on the other person outside of, wow, you have a great rack. I mean, stupid shit like that. But I'm just saying. Also,
dating advice: don't ever say that directly to a woman, guys. Right? Because if she's a badass, she'll fucking suck in.
Right, but I have, for the record, I have to say, if a girl says that to me, I actually like it.
Of course,
I'm just saying.
You've been bench pressing all week for those pecs.
Yeah, that and consuming a whole pizza in one sitting, that always helps. So those are my 2 cents. Now throw yours out.
Oh gosh, I mean, well, now we got deep and like passionate. Mine were hilarious. They were just like,
throw your hilarious ones out.
One of the worst pieces of dating advice I hear recently, and you know what, it's hard for me because I'm a Scorpio and I'm a Latina and I'm real spicy and I don't give a fuck what other people's advice is. So that's my problem. But I'm learning to step back and take your advice, my mom's advice, even my grandma's advice once in a while. So baby steps. But anyways, what I hear all the time, especially being a bartender, when I have homies come in that are going on dates and they're, it becomes bar talk and we're all just chatting like, oh my God, have fun. Like, what are you going to wear? Da, 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 da. One of the pieces that I hear is, well, don't have sex on the first date. Like, don't have sex on the first date. Maybe even don't kiss. It's weird. It's like this weird age range that I'm in where girls have probably gone through the phase where they were fucking on the first date, whatever. And again, like I said before, those relationships didn't stick. So now those same girls are at this point or at this age that they're contemplating. It's like a real thing. They're contemplating whether they should be intimate with this dude on the first date. But the thing is like, I always say pay attention to your feelings, and I always say like go with the flow. If you're like 85% whole of a person and you're pretty aware of what you got going on, you got a good job, you're healthy, you have good friends, you are like pretty much set to have sex with this guy on the first date if you want to, is what I'm saying. I mean, because if you're a smart, intelligent woman, why would you suppress your sexual desires just because you feel like you're living outside these social norms that are all of a sudden created for all of us?
Right, but Lex, you could live in a cardboard box behind the Circle K and you could still be open for sex. I mean, don't you think
different. That's why? No, that's why I said if you're healthy, you got a good job, you've got a good relationship with your friends and family, and you've got some great killer confidence, then I'm saying if you have those things that is creating 85% of a whole woman, I don't think it'll affect you if you have sex with this guy and he doesn't call you back. But you know why I don't think like that? Because I think the woman I'm picturing in my head is smart enough to know that this is going to go further than that.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you're thinking, should I sleep with him or not? He may not call me. He may not. Don't sleep with him. It's fucking simple.
Yeah, because you're creating your own game. You don't even know if the other person's playing on the same field. I mean, that's the problem. It's all you're just mind fucking yourself, and you go with the flow, and if you want to, fine. If you don't, you don't. Most of the time, I found, and throw in your 2 cents if you see things differently, that it's all depending upon the person and how they were brought up and their ideals at the time that something happens. I mean, some people go out and they have a very different opinion on sex than other people, and some people go out and say it's just free expression
they've had thus far in the
right.
relationship world.
And then other people give it a lot of power.
Right.
And if they give it a lot of power, that's the one thing they don't want to give up. And especially with women, what I found in going through counseling and then just knowing a lot of women as well through family and through relationships is that you guys typically go into a relationship feeling like you don't have as much hand as the guy does, if that makes any sense. Because you don't go in as you maybe not, but they don't go in as empowered. They go in, and I'm not saying subservient. I'm just saying there's this continues to be this female of lower than level thing in terms of.
Be careful, Tony.
No. I'm saying I'm totally against it, but it's a cultural norm. It's that subservient position that walk behind the man bullshit that's happened for generations and decades and millennial, and it's been shifting thankfully over the past 40 years or so, but there's still that we still live with the genetics of our forefathers, and there are still certain things that are there. And also we come from a generation to where I come from a generation Gen X. My parents were baby boomers, and they were pretty buttoned up. And I know my sisters were pretty buttoned up because what are you saying? All I'm saying is it just depends upon it depends a lot on just how you were brought up and what your ideals are. And some people are just ready to rock, and some people aren't. Even some guys. But
I would even go as far to say that it doesn't depend on how you were brought up, because at this point, and I think to the crowd and demographic that we're talking to, it's a lifetime ago since you were raised with rules.
It's still there,
you're already
though.
at the point where you're creating your own rules. And I want those people to try to get on that level, I think. And it's possible.
Yeah, no. So do I. But that's the whole thing. I mean,
otherwise you're just missing out.
Well, your mom was pretty conservative. And
totally, and that's what I'm saying. I grew up in a very strict conservative family. I wasn't even allowed to have a boyfriend. I'm still not allowed to have a boyfriend.
Right.
Basically.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how serious it is.
Yeah, so much for that.
When my ex-boyfriend and I went home, I think it was like Thanksgiving or some holiday or something. We slept in different rooms. My grown-ass older brother, him and his chick still sleep in different rooms. That's just, you're right. But what I'm saying is I've developed and created my own morals. Like, Mom, thank you for the base of those morals, because I appreciate it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But there, obviously, if we're going to go there and say if I told my mom I had sex with a dude on the first date, she would be very disappointed in me, but I'm okay.
When did that switch? When did you finally feel as though you could cut the line and move forward into your own direction from that?
I mean, man,
a long time ago,
when I was 18 years old and
right,
moved
yeah,
out of the house. But you know what? I also thank them for being so strict, because it made me want to so bad make my own rules. And that's kind of what I've done my whole entire life. And so you're right. It goes back to the upbringing, but there needs to be a shift at some point in your development as an adult where you start to take control. And if those little things, like if fucking 10 years after I moved out of my house, I was still worried about what my mom would think and not trusting myself, then I need to reevaluate myself. Because if my mom can't trust the judgments I'm making and the decisions I'm making, then I need to reevaluate who I am.
Yeah, I've found that the more aware you are, the more empowered you become, and then the more empowered you become, the more sex does not it's not as strong as of a force in regards to making
and
decisions.
And it is, but I think
it's almost,
it can be when you make the right decisions.
No, but
because I think I'm not trying to dilute like sexual intimacy with anyone.
But when we're not even talking about that, we're talking about the intentions too. That's what we're talking about, and it's all that. It's the mind game that happens in terms of going into something and thinking, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? The more aware you become, the more empowered you become. The more empowered you become, the more you do not have that internal conversation. Because what happens is instead of saying, oh, should I because of this and that, none of that bullshit happens. All you do is you go in and say, this feels good. Let's make this happen, or this, or you know, or or it just doesn't feel right in the moment in this context because I want to see this person again, or I just want a little something more. I want to go deeper in terms of this being this time of life, or I just want to hit some.
Totally.
You know, and so
I have one more if we have time for it. I know you're trying to make these little mini shows. I'll just say it really quick. You know this saying that leaves people single forever, I feel like, is you'll meet someone when you least expect it, or someone will come along. Don't worry, like you don't have to go out searching. Just hang in there. Just be patient. Blah 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 blah. I don't think I call that bullshit, because I think that if you're just waiting around like pretending you don't want a boyfriend, because it's like when you're pretending you're sleeping so your mom doesn't make you get up and go to church, you know, you're just like shutting your eyes and you're like absolutely not asleep. Your mom knows you're not asleep.
I was an expert at that. It never worked, but I was a total expert.
So it's like I'm gonna just pretend and write in my notebook a million times that I don't want a boyfriend, or I don't want a boyfriend, it's not a big deal, I don't need a boyfriend, I don't need a boyfriend, I don't need a boyfriend, and then you're just waiting for him to come. That doesn't work like that. What you're doing is sabotaging yourself subconsciously. I always said, and we've talked about this before, is like you can manifest anything you want to fucking manifest in your life. And you know what else? And kind of probably the easiest for a woman, I would say, is if you want a dude, you think about what type of dude you want. You think about how you want to feel when you meet this guy, where you want to be, what do you want to be wearing, like what perfume do you want to have on, and you exude sexy, like I'm ready to meet a dude. I guarantee in that week or in the next couple weeks, just because you're walking around with a little confidence because you put a little extra makeup on because you want to meet a dude and you're not pretending you don't want to meet a dude, you will meet someone and you'll be stoked on it. And you know what? That piece of confidence you get from a slight manifestation of a date is going to turn into some dope confidence that you're going to be able to use in other aspects of your life.
You will be able to. There you have it. Look at that. Right on.
Boom.
Nice job. That's our 2 cents. Our 3 cents.
You had to give me a time limit.
I know, right? How great is that? Yeah, and I even even accounted for the fact you had to change into your red tank top.
My tank top.
Your other tank top, because your other tank top was a sweatshirt, for the record.
I know.
So
I just thought I would
show
off these sexy traps. I went to CrossFit today for the first time in like a year. Look, I already got traps. My traps are back.
This is for all of you that's listening to the audio, by the way. So you can go to javabud.com. Really? You can go to javabud.com for all the videos and the podcasts and stuff. And also, if you're watching the video, hey, everybody, and look, my book is out.
Ooh.
My book is out. And you haven't, and you, are you waiting for your free copy, Ms. Rodriguez?
Did you send it yet?
No, they're coming in. They're coming in on,
cool.
I just got the notice today. For some reason, people can go on they can go on Amazon and they can get Prime and they can get it in 2 days. Whereas I order 50 or 100 and it takes a month to get my books.
Oh,
so I don't know what the deal is,
Amazon
but that's the key. That's what the problem is. So
that is America.
My books.
Tony D.
Oh boy. So my books will be in a couple of days, and you'll get yours. So it's
Mind
here.
Mind you, they're talking about the Lewinsky scandal on the news, and the guy goes,
Why are they talking about
right,
Lewinsky?
Right. So I'm watching Don Lemon right now, and he goes, the Lewinsky scandal almost ended Bill's presidency. And I'm like, okay, but it fucking didn't. Like, what? Why are we talking about something that almost ended something that didn't end?
Oh,
you fucking, like, it is crazy.
Slow news day. That's a slow news day. Yeah, they're gonna show cats water skiing or something. So you can
also, my roommate recorded now. I want to say she called it. they are conspiring against Trump by saying he has heart disease and someone's going to poison him in the next year and he's going to die. And they're going to say it's based on this newfound heart disease. That's what she said. I just had to get it on recording.
Oh, God. I just think it's funny because they're calling it the girther movement. I think that's friggin' hilarious. The girther movement. That's funny.
What is that?
So girth isn't fat.
Oh,
because he's saying he's 6'3" and 2.
Ew,
he's saying he's 6'3". I don't want to talk about that fucking idiot.
I don't want to talk about
6'3",
Trump
6'3"
and
and
girth
226,
in
and they put him up against other 6'3", 220 guys, and it's not even funny. It's not even close. He looks like a I don't know. He looks like the Michelin Man compared to those guys. Anyway, so fucking Trump. So you can go to the website. You can get all this fun stuff. The video is going to be up there. The audio is going to be up there. And you can reach Lexi at
crucialawareness.com. And email me, Lexi at crucialawareness.com. Check out crucialawareness.com. Rate and review our show. SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. Rate and review. Email us. Let's hang.
And have a good week. And